So, Sheikh, I will just continue the Thursday's class itself. On the day, if you remember, we discussed about the limitations of Excel, right? So on the day, we already discussed like 4 limitations. There is one more limitation. Let's quickly, complete that, and let's start working with the MySQL software. Okay.
Oh, sure.
And as I just saw Yogi, are you attending the session for the first time?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, today I'm joining.
Okay, fine. So you can actually, this is our second class. I already had a demo on Thursday. Okay. In that demo, I just said some basics about the SQL, like what is database and what is SQL, and we were discussing about the first of all, just let me know, are you from IT background or non-IT background, Yogi?
Yeah, I'm from IT background. Yeah, I have a total 2.5 years of experience in TCS.
Okay, great. So
there, yes.
I guess you might have at least some basic knowledge on SQL then, right?
Yeah, I have at least 60% of knowledge on MySQL. Still, we are working on MySQL.
Okay, great. So I don't think missing that demo is any issue for you. Then let's continue with this class. Okay. In that,
yeah, no issue, ma'am. You may continue now.
Yes, thank you.
I will see that record if you available.
Yeah, our admin team will provide you the recording. In that class, actually, I just explained about what is SQL and what is a database, basic definitions of that. And we were discussing like we can even store the data in the form of Excel file as well, right? So if we store in the data in the Excel, what are the limitations we are facing in Excel? And all those limitations, obviously, we will overcome by using MySQL. So let's continue today's class. On the day, I explained about the 4 limitations. First one is data limit. As we know, in Excel, we can save up to 1 million rows only, right? And the second limitation is performance issue. As the data increases, we will, come across with the performance issues, right? Suppose here you can see in my screen, you can able to see my screen, right? Yeah. So here, as you can see, we have almost 4 rows. So what if I have 2000 rows or 3000 rows in my Excel file? As the rows are increasing or the data is increasing, whenever we are trying to open the file only, it will take some time to load the file, right? Like that, as the data increases, we will get the performance issues as well in the Excel. Accessibility of data. Accessibility of data in the sense, if we want to see any particular data by using Excel, we need to apply a lot of filters. It will take some time for accessing the data, right? And the fourth point is data redundancy and wastage of memory. This one also is data redundancy in the sense, nothing but repetition of the data. Previously, I showed you, just give me a second. Yeah, previously I showed you this data, right? If I just imagine that if I am having any e-commerce website and I want to store the data in the Excel form, this is how I will store the data basically, right? This will be my order date, order ID, order date, like that I will store the data. But if you observe in supplier name column, I'm repeating the data, right? I have only 2 suppliers, that is Om Traders and AM Traders, but it is repeating again and again. In manufacturer name also, I'm having only Samsung and OnePlus, but it is repeating again and again. So that is the problem called as data redundancy. That means the repetition of the data. Okay. If we store the data in the Excel form, we will come across this situation, this problem. So what I said, instead of storing the data like this, if we divide the data into smaller parts, this is our basic table. So the same table, actually, I just removed some columns and I kept that in the separate tables. Like I created one customer details table product details table and supplier details table, but I make sure at least one common column should be there. Like, customer ID is here, and in customer details table, we have customer ID so that we can relate the data. Like that, product details table, product ID, and in the base table also, we have product ID, supplier ID, right? So if we store the data like this, you can observe here. Here in supplier name, the data is not repeating. Manufacturer name also data is not repeating, but still I can able to find the answers. That means if I want to know what is the supplier name of my order ID 8, we have order ID 8, right? How we will check in order ID 8, we will see supplier ID is S2. We will go to supplier details table, S2, supplier name is AM Traders, right? Like that, we can relate the data. And this is how we will store the data in the form of databases. I mean, if we are storing the data in the databases, we will store in this format, like we will store multiple tables in databases, right? Up to here, I discussed on the previous class, right? So this data redundancy is a problem we will face if we store the data in the Excel file. So and as the data is repeating, we will also face the wastage of memory, right? The memory will also wasted if we keep on storing the same data again and again. Next, we have one more limitation called as data integrity. And data consistency. Okay. That is nothing but, for suppose, let's just see this data. So this is how I will store the data in Excel file, right? So here, if you observe, in price column, if you observe, I have some data, right? Instead of this, if I simply write it as hi here, something like that, any other word, like hello, it is allowing me to write, correct? Basically, price in the sense, in this column, we should have only numerical data. But if I am writing any random data also, it is allowing me to enter that data. So mistakenly, if we write any wrong data or irrelevant data, Excel is not stopping me to enter such irrelevant data, right? So this is one of the biggest drawback. Whenever we are dealing with the data, basically in real time, we will deal with the big data. So our system should be such robust that it should, it should not allow us to enter any irrelevant data. If we are trying to enter any wrong data, it should throw us an error stating, like if this is a price column, you need to enter only numerical data as you are entering the wrong data. Like that, it should throw us an error, right? So this is called as data consistency, or of course it is data integrity. Both are same. Okay, this is one of the drawback in Excel. Whereas in SQL, we don't have that issue, and which will stop that we will learn in our further classes. Okay, like in SQL, how it will throw us an error, what we should do to overcome this, we will see in the further classes. And one more thing, all right. So suppose this is our data, actual data. So I said we are facing with data integrity and data consistency, right? So one more problem is here. As I said, if we are entering an irrelevant data, it is allowing us to enter, right? Along with that, suppose if you observe here, I have 8 order IDs, right? And customer IDs, I have C1 to C8, correct? At the bottom, I'm having customer details table. And this I'm having C1 to C8. Okay. Suppose if I enter any other row here, let me just enter. I will give some random date. I'm giving C9 here, like that. Suppose I entered some data here. Okay. So if you observe, is this data correct? Whatever I entered, is this data correct? Basically, when order ID will be generated, whenever we sell any product, order ID will be generated. And this is my order details. I9 is my order ID, order date, customer ID, and so on, right? Observe carefully. Basically, this data is wrong because I entered C9 here. And this is customer ID, right? But if we observe at the bottom, we have customer IDs from C8, C1 to C8 only. We don't have C9, right? So without having customer ID C9 in this table, how can I able to enter this C9 here? Because where should I deliver this C9 order? I don't have any customer name and customer address only, right? So this data is wrong. So here also our system should be such smart or robust. If I enter any such data, it should throw us an error and it should say me, first enter C9 details in customer details table, then only come and enter C9 details here, right? Because we don't have customer address only, then how can we generate an order ID? How can we sell any product? This is wrong data, right? So this is the example of data integrity and data consistency. End of the day, our system should be very robust, such a robust that it should throw us an error whenever we are entering any irrelevant data or any wrong data. Okay. So these are all the limitations in Excel. And all these limitations we will overcome when by using the databases or SQL. Okay. I hope this is clear for you. And for the people whoever attending this demo for the first time, I suggest you to see the previous demo video. There was no class yesterday actually. I took a demo on Thursday. Please watch that Thursday demo video to if you want to understand deeply about this concept. Okay. Now, without any delay, let me just show you the user interface of MySQL and let's create some database and tables. Okay. Is this okay and is this clear, everyone? Prince Kumar, I think this is your first class, right? Okay, so are you from IT background or non-IT background? Non-IT. Okay, so I suggest you to watch that previous recording so that in that video, I explained very detailedly what is SQL and what is database with a normal example so that even for a non-IT candidates also, they can relate to the things very easily. Okay, for now, as we have already completed that class. Now I'm just continuing with the next class. Just watch that video. Our admin team will provide you that link. Yes, our admin team will provide you that demo link in your mail. Just check your mail, or else they will provide you today or tomorrow as well. If you still didn't get, you can just ask them once. Okay. Basically, they will provide you for sure. Okay. All right. Let me open MySQL. Once our demo classes is done, I will show you the installation process of MySQL. Okay. So whenever I open MySQL, this will be my first, page. We need to click on this local instance. And this is the user interface of MySQL. So to open a new page, basically, to open a new page, what we need to do, we have we have a SQL tab here towards the top left. We need to click that. Then a new page will be open. I can say new file. This is a SQL file where we will write all our queries. Okay, here. or else inside the file also we will have new query tab. We can open either in this way or directly we can we will have a icon here. Okay. So basically this is the list of my databases which I already have. Okay. Under the schemas, we will have the list of databases here, which we are created. By default, whenever you are installed for the first time, you will have only one database, that is sys. And one more thing I wanted you to know, whenever first you installed your MySQL and open for the first time, you will be in this page, that is administration page. If you see clearly, you can able to see this administration and schemas here. You will be in the administration page. Just please click on schemas, then you can able to see this. Again, I will say the same whenever I'm discussing about the installation process. Okay. So this is the list of my databases. And here in this course, for the first, basic introduction, like to create databases, to show how to create tables. And after that, our next concept will be SQL commands. Guys, just a minute. There is a message from admin team. I'm just sharing you in the chat box. Please just contact to that numbers if you have any concerns. Okay. All right. So after explaining about how to create the databases and how to create the tables, our next concept is a SQL commands. If you have a little bit knowledge on SQL, you might already know about the SQL commands as well. That is nothing but we have 5 types of sub languages or SQL commands, that is DDL, DQL, TCL, like that. We will have all the commands like how to insert the data, how to update the data. All those types of commands also I will explain you with the sample tables. Okay. Once we're done with that concept, everything else, all the other concepts, I am going to explain you with the help of a real-time database. That is, I'm going to use Netflix database here. Okay. Because unlike other institutes here, I don't explain the concepts only by explaining the definition and syntax. I will make you to practice and I will make you to understand. I mean, I will explain you everything very practically and I will use a real-time database so that if in real time we will use big data, right? You will if we work on the big data or at least some real time database whenever you are learning, it it will be very useful for you. So in this course I'm going to use Netflix database. Okay. Or I can say Maven movies database. This is the database name. On this database only I'm going to explain you each and every topic. You can see there are many tables in this database. Basically, this is the database, this is a kind of database where any of the OTT platforms like maybe Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hotstar, we have many OTT platforms, right? All these OTT platforms and any kind of, music, we have something like many music companies, right? Like maybe Aditya Music, like that. Many music companies, DVD rental companies, all those companies will use the same database. Okay. And before starting, let me just quickly show you the course content. After that, I will start. And as I can see two new students here, first quickly, let me just introduce myself. I have about 7.6 years of experience in IT industry, and I have about 3.8 years experience into data analytics online training. Okay, I have experience in teaching SQL, Tableau, Power BI, Python, statistics, and machine learning. Okay, so let me show you our MySQL course content or index. This is the topics we are going to cover in this course. First, introduction to databases and SQL. Limitations of Excel, which we are already done. MySQL installation, I will show you once our regular classes are start. And data types, creation of databases and tables. This is actually, yeah. Okay. And as I said, these are all the SQL commands which we are going to cover. Next, integrity constraints, select clause, where clause. Once we are done with that, I will show you and I will give you this database and I will show you how to, connect to this database. That is movies database. I can say Netflix database. And after that, we will learn from here, all the topics we will learn on this by using this database only. That is order by clause, SQL basic operators, range operator, membership operator, and we have distinct clause, limit clause, we have some wildcards, and next functions, we have different types of functions, numerical functions, character function, date function, temporal function. Next, from here, I can say this joins is the most important concept of SQL. Mostly interviews also, almost 70 to 80% of the questions, they will ask you from joins only. We will learn joins very detailedly by using real-time database and by solving many examples. That is, these are all different types of joins. We will learn each of them very detailing. Okay. Next, we have regular expressions. This is basically if you are planning to start your career in data science or data analytics field, this regular expression is the most important concept. After joins, regular expression is the most important concept if you are planning to start your career in data field. Okay. Next, we have group by clause, having clause, aggregation functions. Next comes with subqueries. We have two types of subqueries, correlated and non-correlated. Next, normalizations. That is, we will discuss about all these normal forms. Next, ER diagrams and denormalization. Next, we have a concept called as CTEs, that is common table expression, views, index, temporary tables, and stored procedure. These are all the concepts which we are going to cover in this course. Okay. And the duration is of 40 days. Okay. And usually we will charge 7,000 for this course, but especially from the last batch, we plan to, just charge you only 2,000. This is a special offer. So yeah, this is about it. Let's start working on MySQL. Okay.
Yeah, hi Divya.
Yes.
I have one doubt. So triggers and cursors not covered in this index, right?
Yes, actually triggers, if you want, I can add triggers as well. Actually, this index is prepared on the particularly on the basis of data analytics field. Triggers are not used for on data analytics. So that's the reason I didn't include it in this content. But yeah, in the normal SQL perspective, triggers is also important. After that will be the last concept. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I can include that as
Data
well.
analytics also teach by you, right?
Data analytics.
Also teach by you, right, in this institute?
Basically, I'm a data analyst. My specialization is on Tableau, but I have experience in teaching all those subjects. So,
Okay.
particularly in this institute, I'm teaching MySQL and Tableau classes.
Okay, right. Yeah,
Okay.
continue, please.
Yeah. And as you asked, actually, as I said, this is I covered almost all the concepts here. Triggers is basically not used in data analytics or data science field. That's the reason it is not included here. And if I talk about cursors, that is completely into the PL SQL concept, right? So I can include triggers in this. Okay. So after stored procedure, we can discuss on triggers. Okay.
Yeah, sure, continue.
Yeah. All right. So basically, database. As I said in the first class, database is nothing but we can say collection of data, right? will store data in the databases only. Okay. And SQL, sorry guys, 1 minute. SQL is structured query language, as we all know. This is the full form of SQL. Basically, it is used to communicate with the databases. Okay. SQL is a language which we will use to communicate with the databases. I hope my screen is visible for you. All right. So here, if you observe, I'm using this 2 lines like this, right? This is basically called as comments. Whatever we write inside this, that are non-executable. Like if you want to write any notes or whenever you are working in real time also, if you want to mention any, write something in as comments, you can use this 2 lines like this, like hashes, okay? And one more important point. So SQL is basically, I can say it is very easy to learn language. It won't be that difficult. If you are completely from the non-IT background also, you can learn SQL very easily, okay? And SQL is case insensitive, okay? That means we can use either, capital letters or small letters. It is okay. It is case insensitive. Whatever we use, that will work. And here we have, many types of database tools available in the market, right? Like MySQL and SQL Server, right? Oracle SQL, maybe MongoDB. Most of you may get a doubt like, what is MySQL, what is SQL Server, what is all these, right? So basically, that is nothing but SQL in the sense that is a language. This is a universal language. I can say structured query language is a universal language which we are going to, which we need to learn particularly. This is the language is used to communicate with the databases, and these are all the different tools available in the market. Okay, MySQL is, that is a different product from Oracle, and SQL Server is a product of Microsoft, like that. These are all the different products, but the main concept which we are going to learn is SQL. Okay, if you learn this SQL, there won't be much differences between the tools. This is just the tools. Okay, these are just the tools. All right. Now let's see how to create the database. So to create the database, we need to write a syntax like create database. Let me write it as a syntax first. Okay, create database name will be our syntax. Okay, example, create database name, as I already have DurgaSoft, let me just keep it as DurgaSoft 2. Okay, I'm just selecting this, and if you can see here, there is this is the, we need to click this to execute our queries. Okay, and if you see all these icons here, just a second, let me point it out very clearly. If you can see here, there are some icons, right? First one is, if we want to open any already saved SQL file from our laptop, we will click this. Okay. The first one, if we want to open any already saved SQL file, we will use the first option. And the second option, after writing all the queries, if we want to save this file, we will use the second option. And the third option is to execute our SQL queries, we will use this third option. Okay. So after writing each and every query, we need to execute the queries, right? So I'm just selecting this and I'm executing it. You can see database is created. And here I can say main important point, semicolon is optional. Okay. Whereas in SQL Server, we need to use semicolon. If that means after writing each and every query, at the end of the query, we should definitely use semicolon whenever we are using SQL Server. This is MySQL, right? Basically, this is MySQL. If in SQL Server, if we miss using semicolon, it will throw us an error. But in MySQL, semicolon is optional. If we use also, it will work. If we don't use also, it will work. Okay. So I didn't use semicolon here. I directly wrote the syntax as create database and database name and I executed it, right? So after creating the database, if we want to see the database in this list, what we need to do? Here we have schemas, right? Beside this, we have a refresh button. We need to just click on this refresh button. You can see my database name is added here, DURGASOFT 2, right? Next, what we need to do, we need to activate the database. Basically, what it happens, whenever we will create any syntaxes, SQL will get confused or SQL won't understand in which database should it execute that particular query. Okay. So first, what we need to do to make SQL understand, we need to activate the database. Suppose here we are using DURGASOFT 2 database, right? So we need to first activate that database and then only next, whatever queries we will execute, all those queries will execute under or inside that database only, that particular database. Clear? So how to activate the database? To activate the database, we will use command. Okay, basically uses a command and the syntax will be like use database name. That's it. That is use the DURGASOFT 2 is our database name, right? We need to give it as use DURGASOFT 2. Okay. I'm just selecting this and executing. Just observe now, all of my database names are in normal color, right? When once immediately after executing, if you see this, particularly this database is got into bold characters, right? That is dark black. That means this particular database is got activated. Clear? Is this clear for you? Whatever I said till now, everyone, I want response.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Divya, there is a error, right? Use under use.
Sorry?
Under use command, there is error, right? Can you say?
No, not actually. It is just showing like that. But at the bottom, if you can see, there is a green tick mark, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If we have any errors, it will show here. Instead of green mark, it will show me the red mark here. For example, let me just execute create this database once again. It will throw me error because it states I already have this database. See, now we got a red color mark, right? This is how we should understand we got an error. It is saying can't create database DURGASOFT 2, database already exists, right? We should just we can ignore the cross marks if we can see here, like previously how you can see, because sometimes normally also it will come like that, like this errors you can this cross marks you can ignore, but if we can see the red color cross mark here, that means we got an error. Green color tick mark means that is executed successfully. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, this is the database which we are going to use. Now, inside the database, as we discussed, we will create tables, right? Basically, we will store the data inside the tables, and all the tables will be present in the database. So we need to create any table first. So let's create a table. So let's create employee table, a simple employee table. And syntax for creating table is create table. Table name, I'm giving my table name as employees. Okay. And inside the table name, we need to give the column names. Okay. So basically, I think every one of you already knew about this basic thing, but still, this is how we will store the data, right? Suppose we are storing the data like this. Employees will be our table name. Employee inside the employees table, employee ID, employee name and salary will be the column name. And if I insert any data randomly, that will be our data, right? We all know this, correct? This is basically a table. We will store the data in the inside the table in the form of rows and columns. Okay. Horizontal part is 0. That means this is the first row, this is the second row, and vertical thing is this is the column. Employee ID is one column, employee name is one column, salary is one column, right? So whenever we want to create the tables, we need to give the table name. After that, we need to define this column names. Okay, that's what we are going to do here. I already given the table name. Inside the table name, I'm just opening the brackets and I will define column names. Okay, so what will be my column names? First, let me give it as employee ID. Employee ID. First, I will write directly and I will explain for you. Just a minute. Employee name, salary. Let me give just three columns only. Or else let me give date of joining also. Okay. So this employees is my table name. Employees is my table name. Inside employees, I want 4 columns. Okay. This is my column names. All right. So whenever we are discussing about the limitations of Excel, just now in the starting, I said that in Excel file, what it is happening, we saw in the price column, if I am entering hi and hello randomly, it is allowing me to enter that data. What I said, our system should be smart enough that if we enter any irrelevant data, it should throw us an error, right? So that limitation we will overcome whenever we are using this kind of databases or SQL. That means if I enter any irrelevant data in the database, I mean in the SQL, like whenever I'm creating the table or inserting the table, if I enter any irrelevant data, we should create the table in such a way that it should throw us an error. Okay, that means employee ID in the sense we need to enter, I mean, by default only we will have numerical data. IDs means numerical data only we have. If I enter any name or anything randomly or mistakenly, it should throw me an error that whatever you entered, that is wrong, right? So that, that concept is called, basically, we have one concept called as data types. This data types, whenever we are creating the tables, whenever we are defining the column names, we need to define data types. Okay, this data types only, there are some types of data types which I'll just explain in a while. that data types only. If we enter any irrelevant data, it will stop entering that data and it will throw us an error. Okay. Now first quickly see the different types of the data types, and after that I will continue explaining the create syntax. Okay. If you can see the image here, these are all the different types of SQL data types. We have numerical data types, character or string data type, date and time data type, Boolean, and we have binary and miscellaneous data types. Okay. Basically, we will use first three data types only more frequently. Numerical data types is further divided into int and float. We should have another image. One second. One second, guys. Okay. All right. So numerical data types is further divided into int and float. Okay. Int in the sense basically integers. I will write it down here directly. See, if we are storing any numbers like 2, 4, like that, or 24, any numbers, we need to use int. Float in the sense decimal points like 2.5, 3.2. Whenever we want to store decimal numbers, we will use float data type. Okay. Like that, in character or string data type, we have char and varchar. What is the difference between char and varchar? We will discuss in tomorrow's class. And in the same way, date and time data type, we have date data type and date time data type. Actually, I had another image. I'm unable to access it now. I will show you in tomorrow's class. But date data type, there is a little bit of format difference between these two data types. Okay, I will show you tomorrow. And in Boolean, we have true and false. Binary or miscellaneous in the sense, if we want to generate some images or anything, we will use this data type. But mostly we will use this three data types only in our real time. Okay. So if we want to store any numerical data, whenever we are defining the columns, we need to give this, we need to use this data types only, either int or float. Okay. I hope most of you already have idea about this thing. So if I want to recorded video, then yes, Prince, you will have whatever I will teach in the class, you will get that video recordings for you. Okay. That is also fine. If you cannot attend the live classes, you can watch the videos whenever, if you get time, you can attend the live classes. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me there. Once you got registered with us, our admin team will provide you one access, a link. In that link, they will upload all the videos from the start. Along with the videos, I will upload the notes also. Notes, and since directly I will upload this files only, where I will write all the all the theory part in the codes like this, and at the bottom only you can find all the queries. Okay, I will upload topic wise files, SQL files in that link only, where you can find the videos and the notes at a time. Once you are registered with us, they will provide you the access to that link. You can watch the videos and you can access the videos for 6 months. Okay. All right. So Let's continue. So data types, these are called as data types, which you saw in the image. Just let me define the data type first. Data type is nothing but it defines what type of value the column can store in the table. Okay. That's what is we are discussing, right? As this is the employee ID column. In this column, I want only integer values. So I will define int data type here, correct? So that basically that is called as a data types, and data types is nothing but it defines what type of value the column can store. Basically, whether it is an integer data type or character data type, whatever if we are defining that particular data only we can able to store. Let's see. Suppose here I mentioned employee ID is the column, right? Here I want only integer data type. So I will mention it as int. Okay. In the previous picture we saw there is an int data type, right? If I mentioned int here, if I declared int data type here, I can enter only numerical data in this column. If I try to enter any other data, like any character data, it will throw me an error. Employee name, basically names will have character data, right? So I'm using char here, and whenever we are using character data type, we need to mention any size. Okay, I'm giving the size as 20. So that why we were define the size in the sense we will particularly give that that much of memory. We will store that much of memory for this column name. Here I'm saying the data type is char, and I'm defining the size as 20. That means I can store up to 20 characters in the employee name. If it exceeds, if I store more than 20 characters, or else let me just mention it as 10 only. So I can store up to 10 characters only. If I mention any 11 or 12 characters name, it won't accept. It will throw me again error. Okay. So basically, whenever we are declaring any character data type, at that time, I need to mention the size. Okay. Next, we have date of joining. Date of joining in the sense I can mention directly date data type. Salary in the sense we can give either int or float. Here I'm giving float because sometimes I can even have my decimal numbers also in the salary like that. Okay. So this is the syntax of creating the table. Create table, table name. Let me just write it as a syntax format first. Create table, table name. We need to open the brackets. Within the brackets, we need to mention column name 1, data type. Okay. Comma, column name 2, data type, so on, like that. Okay, this will be the syntax. And this is the example. Create table, employees is my table name, employee ID is column. For that, I define integer data type, employee name, character data type, date of joining, date data type, salary, float data type. Okay, let's just execute this statement. See, the table got created. Okay. Now directly what I can do here, I can once again, if I want to watch from here, I will just refresh the database, refresh the schema. Here, inside the DURGASOFT, we have something called as tables, right? If I expand this, I can see employees table is here. My employees table is created. In MySQL, especially, if I just select employees table here, at the bottom, I can see the data also. Like I have the columns information and the data types information here. Employee ID, int, employee name, char of 10. Whatever I declared or I define, that everything data we can see here. Okay. So this is the basic thing which we discussed today, how to create the database and how to create the table. Okay, next we need to insert the data inside it. After creating the table, as we saw in the Excel file also, we inserted some data, right? So to insert the database, we will use insert command. Okay. So syntax for using insert command is insert into values, insert into table name actually. Inside the table names, we need to mention the values. Let me directly. So insert into employees is my table name, right? So employees, I will mention as values. Values will be my keyword. Insert into table name, values, and after that, I will just open the brackets and I will directly insert the data. Employee ID, I will take it as 1. Employee name, randomly I'm giving some names, comma, date of joining, randomly I'm giving some date of joining. Okay, comma. Next we have salary, right? Comma. Let me just write it first, then I will explain you. Okay. All right. This is how we can insert the data. Insert into table name, values. Here, if you can see, I wrote the data inside the brackets. This will be our data for the first row. After completing the first row, I'm giving comma and I'm giving the data of the second row. That means the complete row data will be inserted, will be written inside the brackets. And if you observe here, for whenever I'm writing the names, or else I can say whenever I'm using character data, I given single quotes, and the date also we need to write in single quotes. Whenever we will give numbers, normal numbers, no need of using any quotes. Either we can use single quotes or double quotes. For character data and date, data type, data, we need to use single quotes or double quotes. Anything will work. Okay. So basically this will be my first row data, then I'm giving comma, and this will be my second row data. Okay. Now let me just execute this. All right. 1 second. Date of joining. Incorrect value. Okay. I missed the format. Sorry. My bad. We need to basically what it happens. We need to, follow the format whenever we are defining the data, date data type. I missed that format and I wrote it normally. We need to write like this. Okay. Basically, all the date data types, we need to use this format only. YYYY, DD. First year, then month, then date. Okay. In a hurry, I wrote it as normally how I will write in daily life. That's the reason I got error. We need to mention this format only. First year, then month, then date. Okay. So here, after changing the format, my data got inserted. You can see the green tick mark here. So how to display the data, whatever, I mean, how to see the data, whatever we inserted here. To display the data, we will use a select command. Select is a command, okay, used to display data. So the syntax will be select star from table name. Okay, that means select star from, what is my table name? Employees, right? Like this. If I want to see the data, whatever I inserted, I will use the select command like this. Select star from table name. As I want to see the employees table data, I'm using this. Let me execute. And this is our output. This is what we created just now. This is our table. Employees is our table name. Inside that, we have 4 columns. That is employee ID, employee name, date of joining, and salary. And we have 2 rows, right? This is how, whenever we want to display the data, this is one way. And the another way is, especially in MySQL, there is one more way. If you can see here, let me just close this first. There is no output here. If I want to see without using select clause also, select command also, we can display the data and have to see that data in the sense. See, inside DurgaSoft, we have tables and we need to expand that. We have employees data. If I scroll, if I keep my cursor on the employees here, we can see some table structure here towards the end at the last, right? Here we have employees table, and at the last I have some structure of table structure. If I click it, it will directly show me the output of the table. That means at the back end, it will execute this statement only. Again, select star from DurgaSoft to dot employees. That means inside this database, it is displaying this table. At the back end, it will execute the statement only. Okay. So basically, this is about the select command. And here, star in the sense, we can call it as asterisk. If we want to display complete data, we will use this star. Okay. But if we want to display any particular data, we will, instead of asterisk, directly we will use that column names. For example, I want to see only employee ID, comma, employee name. If I want to display only this 2 column data, employee ID and employee name, instead of star, I will mention the column names like this and I will write it as from table name. Okay. Let me just execute this. I'm selecting this and I'm executing this. Once again, select employee ID, employee name from employees. What's wrong? Key name. What we gave? Employee name. Sorry, we need to give the name correctly. So see, if we did any mistakes also, we can understand that by reading this commands. Previously, what I did, I just wrote only e name, right? Then it threw me an error, and here you can see something called as error code. It is clearly giving me the message what error I did. It is saying unknown column e name in field list. Basically, whenever I'm creating this table, I gave the column name as EMP name, right? In a hurry, I wrote e name. That's the reason it thrown me an error. Here I need to write employee name completely. Correct? So basically, if we did any mistakes also, most of the times we can understand our mistakes by reading this error messages. Okay. So if we want to particularly see any data like this, we will use the column names directly instead of asterisk. See, here we got only employee ID and employee name. If you want to see the complete data, we will use star like this, asterisk. Okay. So whatever I said, is this clear for you so far? How to create database, how to create table, how to insert the data, and how to display the data, and also we learn about the data types. Is this clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Great.
Divya, in create command, if we miss the size in like in data type, what happens? Like how much size it will take? So, for example, employee ID, we have given only int only, so without
let's
size.
see. Okay, let's try. I will give this employee's name as EMP, table name. I won't mention any size. This is what you are asking me, right? If we don't mention size, whenever we are creating character data, what it happens? It will create by default, it will take the complete data. Complete, I mean, I will, whenever I'm explaining about, in the tomorrow's class, I will explain about the difference between char and varchar. At that time, I will tell you the how much, capacity is there for char data type and what is the capacity for varchar data type and how it will store. At that time, you can understand this. Okay.
Okay, by default, it will take the
Entire
complete
space.
size.
That is 255 characters. In char capacity is 255 characters. Okay.
Okay.
And varchar capacity is like 16,000. I am not sure. I didn't remember, to be frank. So if we use char and if we didn't mention any size, it will take the whole 255 characters. But actually, what is the difference between why we will use char and why we will use varchar, in which situations we will use them, and how at the back end, what happens if we use char, how it will store the data, how it will store the data when we use varchar, everything we will discuss in tomorrow's class. Okay. Basically, I will discuss that whenever I will tell the difference between char and varchar.
Okay. If this is take default storage, so for example, if I give 2 characters only, so it will occupy entire space, like
Correct.
256.
Entire space.
So like
For char, it will occupy entire space, but varchar, it won't occupy entire space. It will release the remaining space. That's what I will explain it to in tomorrow's class. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So I hope whatever I explained so far, that is clear for you. Let's meet in tomorrow's class. Let's discuss the continuous concepts tomorrow. Okay. If you have any doubts or if you want to ask me anything, you can ask me now.
Yeah, I'm actually taking Power BI class. Is this SQL knowledge enough for that Power
Yes,
BI
that
class?
is enough. That is enough. As I said, I'm a data analyst. So SQL, I can say in the complete data science field, SQL is the backbone of the data science or data analyst. You need to have sound knowledge in SQL. Okay. And whatever I'm explaining, all those concepts is more than enough for you to enter into the data analytics field.
Yeah, SQL and Power BI. Any other thing you need to learn?
No, nothing. Actually, if you are trying to enter as, if you are applying for the Power BI developer role, SQL and Power BI is enough. If you are applying for a data analyst role altogether, I can say 80%, these 2 subjects are enough. But some companies, they will particularly ask you about, about Python also. But it is not compulsory subject, that is optional. In most of the job descriptions, you can search in Naukri as well. They will see for SQL and Power BI, and they will also mention Python as a good to have subject like that. If you know Python, that will be well and good. If you don't know also, you can enter by learning these 2 subjects, and eventually, if your project needed Python, you can learn parallelly. Without Python also, you can get the job easily.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, but SQL is must for either if you are applying for Power BI developer role or Tableau developer role. For any companies, it may be MNCs or normal companies, the first round they will take on SQL. If you clear the SQL round, then only the second round will be the Power BI or Tableau round accordingly. If you have 100% knowledge on, though you learn the 2 subjects after finishing 2 courses also, if you have 100% knowledge on Power BI and if you have 20 or 30% knowledge on SQL, that is of, I can say, waste only, because they won't understand your Power BI knowledge without cracking the first round, that is SQL round. They won't ask you any Power BI questions in first round. In any company, they will ask you only SQL questions. If you can able to clear that round, then only they will arrange you a second round. In that, they will check you the Power BI knowledge.
Oh, okay, sure. That's what I had. Small doubt. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, welcome.
Tomorrow is Sunday. Tomorrow we will have class, right?
Tomorrow, usually Sundays, I won't take classes, but this batch, if you are okay, I will take.
Yeah, no problem for me. I'm just asking.
Okay, Yogi, for you?
Yeah, it's okay, sir.
Yeah, I will be busy tomorrow. Shall we connect on Monday?
Okay, no problem. But the thing is that if you guys are okay, we may I'm not sure, this is not sure, but we may just extend this batch, like, we will change the timings of the batch from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Is that okay for you? That timing, night 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.?
Yeah, for me.
7 to 8.
Yes, Shrek, do you have any problem?
Yeah, no problem. I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. I actually, we are already having a batch at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we are planning to combine 2 batches. That's the reason I want to take class tomorrow also, if it is okay for you. Tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we can cover the concepts, and from Tuesday, the timings will be changed from 7 to 8 o'clock.
Yeah, sure. Divya.
Yeah, thank you, Yogi. If you can make it, please attend the class, or else you can watch the video. Okay. As you already have some SQL knowledge, tomorrow also I will cover only the basic concepts.
Yeah, I have 2.5 years of experience in MySQL.
Yeah. All right. All right, guys. So let's meet in tomorrow's class.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, Divya.
Okay.